If you ask me, this was arson.
Arson?
Aye, someone arsing around.
Magic friends, today I'm going to teach you an ace assembly that comes out of David Regal's book, Up Close and Personal. I highly recommend you read this book. It's got a lot of good material in there because I've been looking for an ace assembly for years. You know, obviously McDonald's aces, or Grandpa's aces as it's lovingly became known, is the go-to when it comes to ace assemblies, but I didn't want to use gaff cards in an ace assembly. I wanted an ace assembly to be completely impromptu, using a standard pack of cards and only sleight of hand and misdirection. Now, I found that there were two types of ace assemblies. One that was very simple and sort of simple handling but confusing plot. And then the other type of ace assembly was a good plot, but a very complicated, intense sleight of hand type of routine that had like 16 sleights in it, and the sleights would actually beat me up. What I ended up settling on was this ace assembly out of David Regal's book, Up Close and Personal, or Close Up and Personal, sorry. Sorry. Close Up and Personal is his book's name, and I highly recommend you read it. And this is a trick out of that book. It's called The Logical Assembly. He's got a whole chapter on ace assemblies, which is the reason I actually bought the book in the first place, is because of that chapter on ace assemblies. I've been looking for an ace assembly for years because I believe that a magician should do one of the classics, one of all of the classics, whether it's an assembly, an ambitious card, etc., that kind of thing, a rising card, a card to impossible location. He should do one of the classics, one of all of the classics. Any good card magician should do one of it. You should do one of each of the classics, whatever it may be, whichever version he decides to do, but he should be able to do one of each of the classics, okay? So this comes now time to learn the trick. But first, before you learn the trick, I want to show you what it looks like. I'm not using an audience. You can use 3 spectators or more to show them this routine. It actually works better if you show 3 or more spectators this routine, but you don't have to. You can use 1 spectator and just basically tell him to cover the last 2 piles of cards. You'll see what I mean now when you see the effect. Here's the effect. You take a shuffled pack from a spectator and you tell them you're going to look for the 4 aces, and you take the 4 aces out and put them on the table in front of them just like this. It's a completely impromptu trick, and it can genuinely be a shuffled pack of cards. Then you display the 4 aces on the bottom of the pack like this: diamonds, clubs, spades, hearts, and you turn the 4 aces over and you put an ace over there, an ace over there, and an ace over there. And the last ace, what you do is you leave it face up over here. Then you take 3 random cards off the top, show the spectators the 3 random cards, and put them on top of the first ace, making 4 cards. You do it again, show the cards, put the 3 cards over there, making 4 cards, and you take 3 random cards off there, put them on top of the last ace, making 4 cards. Then what you do is you tell the first spectator to put his hand over that pile of cards. Tell the second spectator to put their hand over that pile of cards, and you tell the third spectator to put his hand over that pile of cards. You snap your fingers, all the aces appear in this pile of cards, and when they look at each of their cards, there's only the 3 random cards left, and the aces have vanished from their respective piles. Now I'm going to go into the handling and the method behind the trick. It's not too sleight intensive. All you card guys out there should get it within a couple of days practice, maybe even sooner. If it takes longer, so be it. Just make sure you've got it down. If you're showing one person, you can say, we'll put the first pile of cards, 4 cards aside, and we won't, and we'll put them far away so I can't reach them. And then you say, put your right hand on this, the second pile, and put your left hand on the last pile, or vice versa. Okay? And you'll see what I mean now when you see the method. Here is the secret. Okay, you take the shuffled pack back from the spectators and you spread through the face-up cards looking for the aces. But when you push across the first three of the face-up cards, you keep them together away from the rest of the pack when you spread through. And I'll show you why now. But you keep the first three cards away from the rest of the pack as you spread through and find the aces, making sure to keep these three cards away from the rest of the pack. And you'll see why now. You spread through, you look through for all the aces like this, okay? And you find all four of the aces. And when you close the pack, you take these three cards and you form a pinky break underneath the three cards on the face of the pack like this. Then when you pick up the four aces, you pick them up in a very specific order. You pick it up red ace, black ace, black ace, red ace, okay? So as long as it's red, black, black, red, and you put them above the three cards that you kept a pinky break on. So the red ace goes flush on top of the three cards that are above the pinky break, and then black, black, red, and you turn all of the cards over, including the three cards above the pinky break, and you turn them over like this with a jog slightly towards you on the short end that's towards you. It's out jogged. And when you're squaring the cards, you lift them like this and you get a break underneath all seven cards like that. You take the first card, which is obviously a random card now, and you must call it an ace and you put it over there. You take the second card, which is also a random card, but you say it's an ace and you put it over there, and you say you're going to put the third ace over there. Obviously it's a random card, and you say you put the third ace over there. Then you turn over the whole pack. You keep the pinky break above the four aces, because now you've got the four aces above the pinky break. And what you do is you have a biddle grip and you put a bit of pressure with the biddle grip on the short ends, and you turn it over with a bit of pressure between your middle finger and your thumb, and you'll see that the four aces naturally separate from the rest of the pack. Let me show you that again. You keep a pinky break, okay? And as you turn over all the cards with a bit of pressure on this finger and this finger, it naturally separates over there. Obviously, when you turn it over, what you're going to do is you pull down. I'm keeping this hand out the way just so you can see. You pull down with these fingers, so when you close it, you're closing a break underneath the pack that separates the four face-up cards, or the four face-up aces, from the rest of the pack. So let me show you that again. You've got a break underneath the four aces. You put a bit of pressure with this finger and this finger. As you turn it over, you'll see that it naturally separates the four aces there. This hand provides the perfect cover. Not that it matters if you flash this ace. And then you square up all the cards like this, keeping a break by the aces like that. Then you peel off the bottom card, which is obviously an ace, and you tell them you're going to leave the last ace face up over there. You keep a break by those three aces. And then you take three random cards, you show them these cards, and you put them back on top of the deck to square it. But what you do is you square the first card of the three cards completely flush against the pack, and you push the other two against the pack, holding a break. So when you pull these off, you're only pulling two cards off. You're not pulling three. So you show three cards, you display them, you square them up, but you only square it with a break underneath two of the cards. The first card is over there flush. Let me show you that again. You show the three random cards. As you're putting these back, the first card goes square, but these fingers keep these two cards separate from the pack so you can have a break. You must call these two cards, because it's only two cards, you must call them as three cards, and you say, I'm putting three cards on that ace, making four cards. You do the same again. Show them three random cards. You square the first card on the pack, but the other two cards you hold a break, and you pull off only the two cards. You say they're three cards on top of that ace, making four cards. You do it again. You take these three cards, you square them up, but what you're actually doing is you're holding a break underneath the top two cards. You pull off these cards and you put it on top of that card, saying I'm putting three random cards on that ace, making four cards. Okay, now here comes the actual move that gets the aces to travel. You take the break and you transfer it to biddle grip, holding the break by your thumb on your right hand. You push this stack of cards over and you tell the first spectator to cover the pile of cards with their hand. You push this pile over and you tell the second spectator to cover the cards with their hand. And then when you cross the table, to tell the last spectator, this arm provides cover for the move. What you're actually doing is you're just placing the aces, the rest of the aces, on top of that ace. Okay? So you've got a break over there. You transfer to the right hand holding the break. You say, cover that pile of cards. Next person, cover that pile of cards. And as you reach across the deck, this arm covers this move where you place the rest of the aces on top of that ace, and then you move your hands away. Now, because the first ace was red that you put down, they don't notice the discrepancy when you put down the rest of the cards because it's still a red ace, and subconsciously they're not even paying attention to that. They're paying attention to the cards underneath their hand. Okay? And now you've basically finished the trick. You snap your fingers, do whatever you like, and then the 4 aces appear over there, and obviously these will now just be 3 random cards underneath their hand. Now I must say, you don't have to worry about placing the aces perfectly on top of this ace. The misdirection is so strong that when you do tell them to put their cards on top of that last pile and you pull your hands away, and there's a little bit of a discrepancy, they're not perfectly aligned, believe it or not, people still don't notice. So you don't have to worry about making it too perfect or flashing any other aces. It doesn't have to be perfect because they still won't notice. They think that what's going to happen is going to happen under their hands because that's where all the attention is. Okay? That's when you bring them back to this pile of cards. Because if you think about it, the entire time you've paid no attention to that ace at all. So they've basically forgotten about that ace already. So if it isn't lined up perfectly like this, don't worry about it. They won't notice it, believe me. Give it a try and you'll see. A very, very cool trick. You know, I'm not prejudiced against other ace assemblies.
There are only 2 things I can't stand in this world. People who are intolerant of other people's cultures, and the Dutch.
But all prejudices aside from other ace assemblies, I hope you enjoyed this one. I sure as hell do. It's the only ace assembly I'll ever use. Please check out my channel. I've got lots and lots of tutorials on there. I've got many, many videos. Go check out the tutorials. You might find something you enjoy. Like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.